Welcome to another episode of Times Square Kung Fu. I am your host, Frankie Balboa, aka the Shogun Supreme.
And I'm Peter Glagowski, Associate Editor over at Flixus.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at two films recently released by Wellgo USA, The Moon and Dr. Cheon and the Lost Talisman.
Damn, Peter, it's not recently freaking released. It comes out on the 27th, man. Don't get people excited. Don't get it. No, but it comes out at the end of the month. And once again, major props to Wellgo USA for hooking us up with a review copy for the sake of the channel, man. This shows way too much love to the point that we need some t-shirts, right, Wellgo? So yeah, there's gonna be a dual video because, believe it or not, on that same day, there's a lot of releases, not only for Wellgo USA, but other labels. But we're gonna focus on this, and this is why there's gonna be a dual review video, and it's gonna be an interesting one and fun one because me and Peter, we laugh, we cry, and actually was like, oh my god, impressed in certain aspects of the films. All right, man, so let's get into it.
So we've decided to do this dual review because there's not a whole lot to talk about with The Moon, but we're going to give you a short description and then discuss what we liked, what we didn't, etc., etc. So
Right.
The plot of The Moon, as Wellgo USA describes it, 7 years after Korea's first fully manned mission to the moon ends in disaster, a second human spaceflight is launched successfully until a strong solar wind causes the spacecraft to malfunction. With an astronaut left stranded in space and quickly running out of oxygen, the Naro Space Center turns to its former managing director to avert yet another fatal catastrophe. And yeah, that's pretty much the plot. So right off the bat, what we didn't like is that the first hour of this movie is so much buildup, but yet it kind of, you almost feel like it's the end of the film when the first hour is concluding. And even at that point, I looked to you, I'm like, this movie's like 90 minutes, right? We only got half an hour left, and we were stunned to see that full hour left. And I think that's the biggest problem for me, is like the first half almost feels useless.
Yeah, I mean, the director of this film, Kim Yong-hwa, he did, I told you that I was looking forward to watching this film. He did Along with the Gods franchise, which is, I believe is still currently streaming on Wellgo USA streaming site, Haya TV, and I've been telling you guys, subscribe to that freaking channel.
Where you can watch The Moon.
Yeah. And, you know, when we're watching this film, just like Peter mentioned, I kept pointing things out, like, I feel like it's not going far enough. It feels like it's fast forward. They're trying to convey all this emotional chemistry between actors, but they just feel, I feel like they're standing there because this is something majorly happening right now in this film in Korea, with the moon, the oxygen, this pilot, they're making a big national headline. You barely see anybody giving a damn. You see all these news reports that show people walking in the streets like nothing is happening.
Yeah, and I know you pointed out, you're like, if this were, say, Armageddon, people would be staring up at the teletrons and, you know, gasping with air, and we're like, where is all this stuff? I mean, we shouldn't be comparing it necessarily to an American film, but that first hour just, it really doesn't have a sense of urgency or of gravity for the situation. So the main character, played by Do Kyung-soo, he has this history with the other main character, played by Sol Kong-gu. So Sol Kong-gu's character name is Kim, and years ago he was responsible for that disaster that kind of shelved the Korean space program for years, and he feels responsible for killing Do's character Hwang's father. And
which is really not a spoiler because you see that in the beginning of the film.
And, you know, like, as I said to Frankie, like, I don't really get a sense of that. You know, there's nothing, they're not really bickering or sharing any insight. They just kind of, he blurts out some instructions to him, and it's like, oh, this is what you'll do to get back. But then in the second hour, everything we were complaining about is in the movie.
Yeah, one thing that we mentioned is, and by the way, Sol, that actor, he was fantastic in The Merciless. That's another Korean joint that people should see. Great action film. They're making this, you got all this robust music and sound. We're going to talk about the sound in a second. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, this a tech demo. That's all I gotta say. There's no like you said, there's no bickering, there's no tension, and there's no situation where you go like, oh my god, because the special effects in this, there's nothing epic that's happening. Just started looking and pebbles. The meteor. Look, I'm not a science guy. I don't know anything about meteor showers, how they really look. But give me that Michael Bay nonsense, you know, because everything feels like the man is just tripping around and there's something major and he's there and this thing turned off. Like there's nothing. It doesn't feel like oh my god, how this kid is gonna get out of this situation. You didn't get that, but they sold us on that, even with those minute details we mentioning on the second half of the film, where everything I complained about and Peter also mentioned was put back on the second half.
So like you got the people looking at their phones and TVs in the streets, like, and there's something with NASA too. There's a lady bickering with this ridiculously racist white guy, and you know, there's more. And even though I wouldn't say it redeems the film per se, it makes you wonder if they had cut like 40-ish minutes and just focused more on the heavy action and quicker pacing, if this movie would have been a lot better.
Yeah, because the thing is, when the film starts, they show these two astronauts, and they're like, oh, you know, something happens to my son. We don't see anything. We just know one moment when he gets stabbed in the beginning, and then we see the kid alone. We like
completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, there was 3 in total up there. I thought it was only what's happening here. But overall, we mentioned this. It felt like 2 different directors.
Yeah, and it's surprising you say that because there is an assistant director. So,
but it felt like the second hour, that's the way the movie should have been, because I felt like the movie was on a loop.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
You start seeing the powers that be get involved. You see the tension. The time is running out with the whole, you know, thing going on with NASA and everything. I'm like, wow, I actually was, you know, engaged with the film. I'm like, but then by the time I was like, it was over.
Pretty much. We did get our PS1 robot there.
Yeah, with that. You came for the moon, you're staying for the PS1 robot. But besides that, I know a few. My brother laid it best. I told you that it's a perfect date movie.
Could see,
you know, because the beginning is very cheesy and all. But one thing that we truly enjoy about this, Jesus Christ, this film, besides this beautiful slip cover, because Welgo been killing it.
Yeah, it's a nice slip cover.
Is the picture quality? It is crispy. And then you found out there's actually a 4K of this film.
Yeah, I think it's in Germany. I'm not entirely sure, but there is a 4K release, and that makes a lot of sense. This looks like a 4K scan.
Yeah, it looks like a 4K scan. The color grading, I love the style. It has this nice, icy look to it. Almost looks like a music video almost at times when they're inside the command center.
Yeah, at times.
So it has a nice look to it. It's not overly saturated. But forget all that, because we know you say beginning with the picture quality is the goddamn sound. It's the damn.
Yeah, and we were watching it. Well, I had it on my end, and you were streaming it, and like the sound's fantastic. There's great stereo separation, but lots of multi-channel use, good bass separation. I mean, dialogue's nice and clear. I was just like, this is one of those tech demo discs.
That is, if you want to check out show off your sound system, your sound bar, your bookshelf speakers, whatever you have, even your TV speakers, believe it or not.
Yeah, it might sound good on those even.
Because when I stream with you, I got like some replacement speakers for the time being, some Amazon basic little speakers, and I'm like, holy hell. I'm like, Peter, are you hearing this? And he's like, damn, even right here, you're streaming this through Discord, I hear the separation. Like, this is nuts. I heard them at my studio monitors, which is my go-to reference speakers, and then I went to my brother's spot, who has a 9.2 setup, and it is nuts. The little pebble meteor shower sounded more grandiose than what it looked, you know. But overall, I'm like, I say rented, because the last hour is what the first part of the film should have been. Like, if you look at the reviews for this film, some people really enjoyed it because the actors in it, they actually enjoy the acting. But the first hour, just remember that there's some tension lacking.
Yeah.
You know?
I would say, honestly, just watch Armageddon again. I don't even like Armageddon, but I don't know.
I only recommend this joint really if you're a fan of the director and his style of directing. Again, I enjoy Along with the Gods, and I know people are a huge fan of the actors in this film. So if you're a fan, you probably already saw this or is gonna buy it. Me personally, I say rent it because my brothers, enjoyed it with his wife. So people have different tastes, and he explained to me why he enjoyed it. He said like, it was cheesy at the beginning, but after a while they were like, oh snap. And they found it to be different because they're used to seeing Western takes on space. So they found the way the engagement was, the way the uses of the music, which I didn't pay attention. He mentioned a few things that I was like, wow, like, yeah, it wasn't like blowing your ears out with horn or the cheesy melodramatic stuff. It just, he felt it was a certain calmness to it. Compared to using string instruments, it was just very unique to him. He said he felt like he was playing Final Fantasy. So I'm like, okay, there you go. Boro, if you guys get this physical, you are gonna be on a freaking tech demo trip. This thing looks beautiful and it sounds, Jesus Christ, it's one of the best discs I heard this year so far.
Yeah, I agree.
It's definitely a stunning film. But overall, man, that's the moon, and we're about to jump onto, oh baby, Dr. Cheon, baby. Yeah.
Jumping over to Dr. Cheon, we're going to use Welgo's description again because they seem to be friggin' great at summarizing movies. So, the story here is, despite being the grandson of a famed village shaman, Dr. Cheon doesn't actually believe in ghosts, yet makes a living performing fake exorcisms on camera. When a mysterious client arrives at his doorstep, Dr. Cheon is drawn into a series of strange and unexplainable events that will challenge everything that he has ever believed and resurface childhood horrors he's tried to forget. Ooh.
Yeah!
So the main character in this movie is played by Gong Dong Hwan. And before I forget it, this movie was directed by Kim Song-sik. Now, as the description says, the movie kind of starts in a comedic tone because Dr. Cheon is making a living just peddling people. He goes to their houses when they're like, hey, we got some exorcism, or, my daughter's possessed or something, and he's got this special bell and it doesn't ring, so he knows there's no ghosts. And him and his assistant, played by Lee Dong-hui, they just kind of make stuff up, and they attach some rockets to like the statue and get all the streamers rumbling, and they got like a sound system pumping eerie sounds, and it's kind of fun.
I mean, kind of fun. The thing was freaking hysterical that beginning. I'm like, this guy has Wi-Fi set up. And because the opening is with just like you mentioned, that the wife is going like, all this stuff is going on. My daughter's acting out and everything. So they do, what any parents would do. They will hire a freaking, somebody that can perform exorcism to, get that demon out of your child. Being a teenager, smoking cigarettes, listening to rap music, shit, get a shaman up in this motherfucker.
A teenager who's actually 24 years old.
Yeah. Hey, you got to keep it safe by the bell, baby. So it's hysterical the way the film starts because you see him being a super freaking, I tell you, it felt like an anime almost because I was like, damn, this guy could have been Spike.
Yeah. He's kind of like withdrawn almost. I would say he's sort of like a Han Solo-ish rogue, even.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, like the chemistry is so freaking amazing. It's well balanced. They both stand out.
Yeah, I would say in the beginning it is very well balanced. There's a lot of good joking back and forth, and the plot's moving relatively decently. It's just that where the problem starts to come in for me is that there's a lot of questions that you have as the movie's going on. And while, I'm not one to be like, you got to answer things immediately, what happens roughly midway into the movie is that there's just a gigantic exposition dump. So I don't think that's the most elegant way to explain the movie.
And I told you, like, that's something you see a lot in Korean films, like with the drama sections, and when you want to know more about this mystery of the character is spread in chunks. It feels like you're going on side quests and then hit the main quest.
Yeah.
And that's how it feels like, because they introduce this actress where it propels the plot forward.
This actress whose name is Isom.
Yeah, her.
She's cool. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, she's the one that basically is the catalyst for the plot.
Yeah, but that she is the freaking oldest looking freaking 20-year-old they cast. They messed up there.
I know, good. Yeah, that one they messed up. They're like, oh, she's in her 20s, like her early 20s, and we looked it up. It's just 34.
And like, she looks 34.
34. Like, there's nothing wrong with being 34, but just whatever.
Whatever. But other than that, she has a prominent role at the, at the part of the film where it's progressing, where it's pushing it forward, becomes a little darker and a little eerie because they enter Silent Hill. We're not joking.
Yeah, basically, there's a town that's covered in a mysterious fog, and then the main villain of the film, played by Hyo Jun-ho, he's able to possess people with some kind of black magic. We'll save the description for if you want to watch the movie. And
yeah, we're not gonna spoil it because it's a spoiler with his character and the connection with some of the few in the film.
But I mean, like, he could just possess people, and then they're jumping out from the fog and grabbing Dr. Cheon, and it's intense and fun and really engaging. And I kind of wish they actually saved that for later in the film now, because past that point, the rest of the movie feels a little dull.
Right, because when they enter Silent Hill, there's a part when the film progresses where I say, here comes the side missions, and we start seeing like, oh my god, like this is what it really is all about. They enter a similar town, just like the first one, and then it's just action, action, action. I felt like they could have got rid of that and just saved one particular part of the film where they meet. I swear to God, if you're Latino, you know what I mean when I say Walter Mercado. They're gonna encounter Walter Mercado in this mofo, and you'll be like, oh my God. And Bridget Lynn appears. It's not Bridget Lynn, but
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, this Isom's character's sister is the one who's possessed, and then whatever. But yeah, she really looks like Bridget Lynn at one point. It's like,
yeah, we were like, word? But other than that, with the massive exposition dump, as you put it, but I call it side quest. They try to make it dramatic because it is. Yeah. It's very like, what's going on, this and that. Oh, you're the chosen one. You're supposed to do this and blah, blah, blah. I really did enjoy this film because I saw it from, I kept mentioning to you, wow, my niece will love this film. It feels like a family movie too, especially where the musical cues are used.
Other than that Lethal Weapon music.
That we kept saying that, oh, you're going to hear some Lethal Weapon type music here.
It's like, yeah. When he's walking in and stuff.
And you're not gonna get, like you mentioned, the action is not like anything special, anything spectacular.
Yeah, I kind of wish, and you brought this up when we were watching it, that maybe it took like the Detective D route, where it was more investigative, because like, the action's fine, but it's also heavily CG based and kind of choppy. Like, I'll give props to Gang Dong-kwon. He's not bad in that action, and they do try to make some creative stuff happen, but the movie doesn't really work that well.
Yeah, especially in that part what we call Silent Hill, where we thought we were gonna get like some Detective D type action, some insanity. Is the zombies coming, grab him, tap him.
Yeah, with his mystical blade.
Just taps him. So I wish it was like something more epic or bodies flying everywhere. But now the film keeps a nice tone, and that's why I say it feels like a nice kids movie. And I saw from that perspective.
Yeah.
Great music, Lethal Weapon music, and the film actually looks very good. It has a nice, clean, soft look to it.
Yeah, this one doesn't look 4K-ish like the Moon does, but it's definitely an intentional look to kind of give it like a mystical vibe. So
yes,
everything's foggy, and then when you're in the normal daytime areas, like you said, there's a soft look, almost like they put a filter over it, but it's not to the point where you can't make out details.
Yeah, like we mentioned in the beginning when he goes into the pawn shop where they steal the man's noodles. It has a nice green tone to it, but it's not overly done, and it still has that nice soft look. Like, it reminds me of the old Hong Kong stuff where it was bloomy, but instead it's not bloomy. You just can see it's kind of like you said, mystical.
Yeah.
So I love the way the film looks. You also mentioned the sound is actually very good in this film as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, this isn't the moon because it's not a tech demo, but the sound's good. It's got great stereo separation, and the music's all clear. Nothing overpowers the dialogue, and it's another quality well-go release.
Yeah, and because the ending, the last sequence with the blues and the greens, the neon look.
Yeah, that looks very good.
That looks, and then when I'm not gonna get too much into it, but I mean, damn, you look at his back of his box, you definitely want to buy that.
Yeah.
But overall, I actually recommend this film, especially how cheap Well Go USA releases go, or if not, because this also comes out digital on the 27th. It's a great rental with if you guys have kids. Definitely check this out. It's a family movie.
Yeah, I would say more rent it, but I do think you should watch it. It is at least entertaining enough.
We were laughing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm such a hater because I'm like this, I actually like this joint. I could see if this was another film, but I really liked the main actor a lot. I actually liked a lot of them a lot.
Yeah, I can't really complain. It's just that the movie itself is kind of basic, so.
But sometimes basic is good, man.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be unique. The director wants to do something fun, and he did something fun, and it delivered.
Yeah. For sure.
So overall, I want to say something I usually don't say for movies like Are This Temple. I buy it. If you guys so about saving physical media, streaming is evil, get this damn thing, man. It's Well Go USA, man. And it's Frankie Balboa, the Shogun Supreme. Peter, sign us out.